What up? What up? What up? What up, guys? What's going on? What's going down? It's your girl, Sean Taylor, Sean, the homeschool guru. And I am coming live with our Wednesdays homeschool Q&A, right? Y'all come on in here, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you're here. Hey, babe, thank you for joining me on IG. I see you, honey. Thank you so much for joining me. Bilingual Brown Babies, thank you so much for joining me. Y'all come on in here, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you're here. Listen, it's Wednesday and I'm tired. Your girl's tired. I'm getting my behind kicked, right? I told y'all Monday. Monday, I told y'all that your school day should not last more than 6 hours. Tuesday, our school day lasted about 8 hours. And I knew it was going to happen because I said it out loud. Like I was talking trash on live. And so I knew that was going to happen to me. My baby says, I like your plaits. They not plaits, child. They twist, babe. They twist. They big twist, honey. Look again. Talking about plaits. These not plaits. Look, babe. I don't know if you can see. Now, excuse me while I flirt with my husband a little bit, okay? Hey, tell a story. Thank you so much for joining me. Long time no see, sir. Hey, Mona. Hey, Camille. Hey, Portia. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Thank y'all so much. Y'all come on in here and say, hey, what's up? My husband said, oh, my bad. Babe, am I cute? Am I cute, babe? Child, she tried to do something different with her hair, right? All I was missing was a little beads. Listen, y'all, let me stop. My husband on here, I'm trying to show out. I'm trying to show out. I'm trying to flirt a little bit, right? Trying to put something with something, do something, make something happen, right? Hey, Kelly, thank you so much for joining me. He talking about, y'all, that's my boo. That's my boo, right? That's my baby. Okay, so listen, I'm not going to be on here long. Let's see. We're going to talk. We're going to get to rolling. So y'all come on in here, ask whatever questions that you ask, and I will answer them pertaining to homeschool. Let's see. And I'm going to keep talking a continuation about what I talked about on Monday and explain to you what had happened. Right. And bilingual baby says, brown baby says, y'all better flirt. I know, right? I know, right? Hey, Jaquithia, hashtag Guru Click. Hey, friend. So we're going to continue the conversation, okay? But in the meantime, you guys are more than welcome to ask whatever question that you want to ask. So on Monday, I was saying, Lady B says, did you get a whopper? What you mean? Text me. If that's who I think it is. I don't know if that's who I think it is. I was gonna say text me. But what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna continue the conversation with Monday, and then in the meantime, you guys are more than welcome to ask any questions you may ask pertaining to homeschool. But do me a favor before I go live or before I dive into it, please share, like, comment, throw some hearts in there for me. All of that blesses me and helps me reach this huge goal that I have asked God to bless me with. And it's going to come through you guys, right? It's going to come by him through you guys. So if you guys please, that would help me a lot. Just like, share, get some people in the room. So listen, let's talk, okay? So, and I also need to introduce myself for the new people. Okay, so let's try this one more time. My name is Sean Taylor. I go by the name of Sean, the homeschool guru. I am a homeschool coach that specializes in helping families transition into homeschooling, right? I'm helping you out here in these homeschool streets, okay? What I need you to do for me is if you're new, you have never joined me for a live before, ever, please put a 1 in the comments and tell me where you're from so I can shout you out, okay? So now that we got all that new business out, let's keep going, okay? So on Monday, we had the conversation about schedules and how long your day should last, right? And I've been making comments, posts, and all that and explaining that your homeschool day should not last more than 6 hours a day, right? And the minute I said it, I heard it come out of my mouth. I knew that it was going to be the next day was probably going to be difficult. Actually, probably the rest of the week was going to be difficult because I had taken the opportunity and the time to flat out say like your homeschool day shouldn't last 8 hours. And that's exactly what happened. So yesterday, we got up at the same time, right? I get up at 7 o'clock before my kids. I wake my kids up around 8:15. They're supposed to get up by their alarm, but they are not. That's something that we're working on. And by 8:15, by 8:45, I try to have them sitting down with breakfast. When they're eating breakfast, they are allowed to read or do something like that. Sometimes they try to do other schoolwork, but I don't like that so much because it's like electronic and the books and all that, and I don't want them to get, gross food and stuff all over it. But I do allow them to read. So they will read, and every day we read for 30 minutes. And so they will read for those 30 minutes. So that started, and then it was just like a bunch of mayhem started, like distractions, like and I'm gonna take ownership for it, because it was distractions like, did you do your chores yesterday? Oh, you didn't do your chores? Well, you need to go back to and do it. Or, hey, did you do this? You need to go do this. And hey, did this happen yesterday? And you need to do this. And so it came to a point where I was distracting them. They were a little distracted. On top of that, having random side conversations about things. And then it got to the point where I started going through and checking things and trying to figure out what they had completed the previous day and what they hadn't completed, and found out somebody was playing the okey doke, like pretending to complete their work. And so we ended up having a full conversation about integrity and, being who you say you are and doing what you say you're going to do, all that good stuff. And so that took up a large chunk of our time. On top of that, and then on top of that, what did we have? Something else happened, and it just came in my mind, and then a child had basketball practice right in the middle of the day. They practice during the day. They play a homeschool team, competitive homeschool team, and he had practice right in the middle of the day. But something happened. Something happened, y'all. Babe, are you still on here? Do you remember what I told you happened? Something happened. What happened, y'all? Child, I don't even remember. Something happened. I don't remember what it was. We went and took another COVID test. Something happened. Okay. Anyway, something happened, and we did not finish school by 1 o'clock yesterday. We ended up finishing school actually pretty late. Oh, I know what it was. So my kids are taking physics right now, and there's an experiment that they are actually doing. Hey, Kristen, thank you so much for joining me. Oh yeah, my son also got a haircut. There was a bunch going on yesterday, y'all. Thank you, babe. And so they're doing physics, and the physics has instructions on the experiment and the assignments that go along with the experiment. They had somehow, I don't want to say they didn't follow the directions, but my kids are they didn't follow the directions. Let me just be honest. They thought that they could figure it out and do it their way. Like, oh, I can do it. Oh, I got this. It's cool. I think I know what I'm supposed to do. And then when it came down to them actually doing the experiment, because they didn't follow the instructions from the actual beginning, it didn't work like it was supposed to. And so they had to tear apart the experiment that they had done. They had to build, a force, measuring force. They had to build it out of some different items. So they take it apart and start all over and do it again. But again, they didn't follow the instructions the second time. And so they had to take it apart they had to take apart a second time and do the experiment a third time in order for it to work. And so what it made for us was an extremely long day. Okay. And what I want to say to you in those moments, guys, when you're going to have long days, right? I explained that to you Monday. I said that there are days where your school day may last more than 6 hours. It could be because of us. We had basketball practice, the kids not following instructions, kid got a haircut, we went and took COVID tests, all that stuff, right? It could be one of those days where it's going to be an issue. You just have to be aware that it's not always going to be that way, and also identify those things that are distractions, identify those things that are time management, that are snatching up your time. So say, for instance, me personally fussing at the kids about chores that could have been done after school. That was a time guzzler for us, right? Because I stopped and I'm frustrated and I'm going full-fledged mama. It's your responsibility to take care of this chore, and I'm not going to keep babysitting you, and you need to finish the task in its totality. Don't half do it. Don't half but do it. Like going into this big old spiel, right? So of course, I am being the distraction. I'm the one that's being the time guzzler as far as that's concerned. And so that's something to think about. Okay. So those are the things that I talked about. Figure out what those time management things are. What are those things that you can manage time, on better? For me, again, I told you I started fussing about chores that had nothing to do with schoolwork. That could have been done later on. That was my fault. The second thing for us too is, again, the basketball practice. He had basketball practice. Well, that can't necessarily be moved. And so that's different. But again, like my son, haircut. Okay. I scheduled him a haircut in the middle of the day. Now, the reason why I do that, A, is because our evenings are pretty blocked up and busy, but also this particular barber gives a super discount. I think like 50% off discount on Tuesday afternoons. So I try to book it. And because we had COVID, he hadn't gotten a haircut in a while. So I was like, let me go get him a haircut real quick. He's got an opening. But those are time and management guzzlers. Like those are time guzzlers. But I had control over those, right? And so when you're going through your homeschool day, and if your homeschool day is lasting more than 6 hours, I want you to sit there and write down what you're doing every single time you're doing it. Like try your best, even if it's on your phone, whatever the case may be. Let me write down that I started fussing at the kids. I went to the grocery store, or I did this, whatever the case may be, so you can identify where your time is being guzzled during your particular day. Okay. Hey, Novo, thank you so much for joining me. Let's see. It says, it's difficult nowadays with children, especially with time management and responsibilities. Yes, it is difficult, but it can be done, right? Hey, Lori, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Welcome back. Hey, Shell. Hey, my Lisa. Let's see. Hey, Shayla. Shell says, some days my son drags it out purposely, so I can say we're not going to do school today. Okay, so listen, kids are tricky. Okay, kids are tricky. And if they know that you're going to slip up, or if they know your behavior, they are very observant. And so if they know that you are going to say, oh, I'm tired, let's not do this. We're busy, let's skip this for now, then they're going to take advantage of it. And then again, you have to determine if it's an opportunity where you're going to let them take advantage of it, right? Because that's what it boils down to, whether or not you choose to allow them to take advantage of you in that moment. And so be diligent and aware that your kids will do stuff like that. I'm going to be honest with you. There are things that my kids do not enjoy. My youngest, he's not keen on doing schoolwork. He wants to chill, right? Especially a couple subjects in particular. He wants to chill. And so we have to have the conversation all of the time of there are responsibilities that we have. And we have to get those done. And so what we're going to do is we're going to push through even when we don't want to do it. And we're going to get those things done. And then we're going to have a fun. And then we're going to go outside and play. And then we're going to get on the Oculus. And then we're going to do other stuff. Let me know, guys, if that makes sense. And again, this is Homeschool Q A. Y'all can ask whatever questions you have, homeschool related. Everybody do me a favor right now. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some something. Let's get some engagement up here. Let's get some people in the actual room. Hey, Alicia, thank you so much for joining me. Hey, Denny. Hey, girl. Hey, hashtag Guru Click. Alicia says makes sense. Yeah, the kids, they're not going to want to do it, right? They're just not. They're not going to always want to do their schoolwork. My daughter, she's different. Like she's like, let me get this done so I can do whatever. And of course, boys, and I don't want to necessarily blame it on boys, but boys are typically, I don't want to say less willing, but they are, I don't want to say make it difficult, but they tend to make it a little bit more difficult when it comes to homeschooling, right? They want to take the opportunity to chill, do whatever it is. Like school is the last thing that they want to do. And that is a problem that we're having across the board as homeschoolers. But again, you have to have that conversation with them about responsibility. This is your responsibility right now. Your responsibility, your priority right now is to complete schoolwork. Let's listen. And there's a little give and take there. So you can say, instead of doing your entire school day all day long, let's do this. How about we finish math and then we take a 15-minute break? Okay. How about we finish ELA and then we'll take a 15-minute break? How about we do this? If you get this completed, then we can take a break and we can go outside and play for a little bit and then come back in the house. So you have to make that decision. You have to say, to them. Like, it has to be done. They have to know that it has to be done. It's not a choice. You're not going to fall out on the floor. You're not going to throw tantrums. I understand that you're frustrated. I understand that you don't want to do it. But a part of life is that even us as adults, kids think we can pretty much do whatever we want to and there's no rules. I have to explain to my kids all the time that there are rules, regardless of who we are, where we are. Somebody's rules we're following, whether it's law, whatever, the government, whatever. There's some type of rule that we are currently following. Okay. Hey, Latia, thank you so much for that thumbs up. I appreciate you. Latia says, so true. I got so daggum frustrated today with them. I'm glad I am on here to know I'm not alone. I said, you do all your work and they get their time back. Exactly. And so it happens. It happens. And for us in the very beginning, my youngest one, he used to wear me out. Y'all, he used to refuse. I don't want to do my schoolwork. I don't want to do my schoolwork. Why do I have to do schoolwork? He used to give me hell like all of the time. And it got to the point where I had to say to him, okay, listen, you can waste time all day long, right? You can waste time all day long. But when it's time for you to have free time, your brother and your sister are having free time, you're still going to be sitting here doing your schoolwork. This has to be done. Okay. And again, there are times when it's not always going to be like that. So like I said, there are going to be rough days where you're going to say, okay, we're done. This has been a rough day. Let's just pick up tomorrow. But I don't want you to think that it's abnormal for you to have to sit there and hold them accountable for doing their schoolwork. And I'm not saying be mean. And I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I am mean. I'm like, hey, you better get to it. Or I'll be like, I'll use my husband. I'll be like, your dad is on the phone. You think he likes me having to repeat myself over and over again? And then they'll get to work because they don't want dad to come deal with it. Right. So just be honest as far as that's concerned. Just tell them, like flat out tell them this is your responsibility. Kristen says, trying to teach my easily distracted son time management skills. It is slow, frustrating process, but he's young, 8. So I'm exercising patience. Yeah. And that may take some time. It's funny that you mentioned that actual conversation because my son and I were having that conversation today in the car. And I said, hey, it's taking you a minute to do something that you know how to do. Like, I've taught this to you. I've seen you do it. You can complete it. What's happening? And it came down to or boiled down to him being distracted. And so it was like, okay, well, I bought you tools to help you. I bought you fidget spinners. I bought you the poppers. Maybe when you have to do steps. So like there's steps that you do for a process. Maybe you write down the steps and check them off as you go. So you know where you left off if you do get distracted. Like we're having that type of conversation right now on how to deal with that. Right. Jaquithia says, yes, today after our library trip, I had the kids do reading aids and math seeds alone. Yeah. And it bees that way sometimes, right? You have to get this stuff done. You have to get this stuff done. Babe says facts. Let's see. I think he's saying facts because the kids don't want to deal with him. They don't, y'all. They don't want that daddy smoke. When daddy brings smoke, they like, oh shoot. Hey Hester, thank you so much for joining me. Latia says they have to work late today because they refuse to work. I mean, because they don't understand anything different. But for the most part, I am patient. Yeah, and they're going to be frustrated with you about that. Once you get them to calm down, maybe you're done and it's a quiet time, you can have that conversation with him about, hey, I'm not trying to be mean, but we all have responsibilities that we have to take care of. And right now, your responsibility is your schoolwork. That's your focus. And is there something that we can do? Do you not like the curriculum? Is it too hard? Do you not understand it? Ask them what they need. Ask them what is going on with them during the day, right? My son will flat out tell me, like, I'll say, what's going on? Why are you struggling? He's like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like the curriculum. It stinks. And so I'll have to, say, okay, well, let's try something different. Or maybe instead of you sitting there trying to struggle through something you don't like, why don't you sit with me and we'll go over it together? Something like that. But once he's calmed down, once your baby has calmed down and the dust has settled, right? Y'all have that conversation in a loving type manner. And when I say loving type manner, I'm not necessarily saying hugged up, but hey, if hugged up is what you got, then, hug up and sit there and talk and have a one-on-one conversation with your child about their educational journey, right? Latia says, my son is 8 as well, but he knows how to do it, but he gets distracted. I have to sit next to him to make sure he gets it done. And that might be it, right? But also when we have to sit next to our child and make sure things get done, we also want to equip them with the knowledge and the tools to be able to bring themselves back from distraction, right? It's all a part of distraction. I tell my kids all the time, even even me, I get distracted sitting here at my desk. It is important for me as an adult to recognize when I'm getting distracted and get myself back on track. And these are some of the things that I do to do that. I set timers. I do this. I close all extra tabs. I do, I take things that don't have to do with what I'm doing. I move them away from me, all that kind of stuff. I make a list of the things that I need to complete or do or whatever the case may be. And so those are the type of conversations you need to have with your child so your child knows they're not out here alone. Because a lot of the times they do feel like we as parents have it all together, right? We've done everything. But the fact of the matter is they need to know that we struggle with attention issues as well, right? We struggle sometimes. We don't want to work on stuff. We don't like working on it, but we have to because it's what we have to do in that moment, right? Kristen says, my son gets lost in his imagination, so days can get long like today. Yeah, and I get that. I understand that. It's difficult when you have a kid that is highly imaginative for sure. And so, again, you want to be mindful, know your child, and you want to have that conversation with them. And then again, it might be depending upon their age. And I remember, Kristen, your kids are young. It may be an opportunity for you to say, let's take breaks, complete this, and then we can take a break. Okay. Do this and we can do this. Okay. Draw. How about this? You work on 3 math problems and then you can draw a picture and then let's come back and do this or whatever. Okay. Latia says, my kids don't like daddy smoke either. Yeah, my kids don't fool with daddy like when dad. But you know what's terrible, y'all? I'm going to put him on blast. I don't know if he's still on here live. What is terrible is 9 times out of 10, my husband is the god darn, and I said got, G-O-T. He's the god darn distraction. I have to tell him, babe, get out of here. Like, babe, go. Hey, the TV is loud. Come on, we're trying to work, whatever the case may be. But then when I get serious about it, and he expects the kids to get serious about it. So, it all works out. Lori says, I found that me taking the time to prep definitely pays off. I have a 13-year-old with autism, and I found for her, the more I tell her what is expected of her helps. I give her a checklist of what we need to do for the day. So if she wakes up early, she can get started on what she can do by herself. I know there are things I need to sit with her with, but I always make sure she has at least 3 things she can do without me. Yeah, Lori, that is absolutely perfect. Write out your list. Whether it's a schedule, whether it's a calendar, whether it's a piece of paper, whether it's a whiteboard, whether you're using Homeschool Manager like me, whatever the case may be, make sure that you're planning. You have somewhat of a plan of what they're going to do, and make it their responsibility to look and find out what it is that they're going to do. It used to bug the mess out of me when my kids would say, Mommy, what are we doing for school today? What are we doing? What are we doing? It's like, look on your schedule. You know what we're doing for school. But again, when I started planning and putting things in order for them, they would come in here and do their stuff, on their own. Okay. You're welcome, Latia. You are absolutely welcome. Kristen says, he just told me he wants the 30-minute hourglass like mine to help him keep on track. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, y'all, hold on. I'm going to step up because I remember I was telling you guys about a timer. I intended to grab it. I didn't. Hold on, okay? Hold on 1 second. Okay, so if you join me for the tailor-made homeschooling conference, if you join me, there was a speaker, Cynthia Heron, Inside Our Normal, who has several kids, not several, she has 2 or 3, but there's autism in there some way. She suggested these timers, and this timer, let me see if I can get it closer. This timer is great, okay? Especially for the little kids. Y'all watch, hold on, it's backwards. So you turn it to the 30 minutes, right? Okay. And it turns I'm backwards, y'all. The part that they have to work. So this right here is their timer. And as it goes down, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm backwards. See, I'm turning it the wrong way. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying, and I'm left-handed too. So that, hold on, y'all. So as it turns, the timer goes down. There you go. You can see the red goes down too. And you can make an alert too, I think. It'll bing or something. Let me see. There you go. It'll beep. Okay, so these timers are great. We use these. I got this one at Amazon. We also use our phones. We use several different things as far as that's concerned. Timers are great. Okay, so what I tell my kids, even now they all have phones, so it's different. So we don't use this as much, but I can say, here, you got 30 minutes. If you work for 30 minutes straight, you're good. You're Gucci. You can go do something else. Okay, all right. Let's see. Hester says, yesterday, my daughter, 9 years old, did very well. Lately, she has been seem like she doesn't want to do anything. So we wind up homeschooling later on towards the afternoon because I had appointments. So I'm taking observation of that. Maybe that day she needed to start later, but I'm observing to see if she could continue starting later. We don't start at the crack of dawn. We normally, when we're ready. I guess she's saying we'll start when we're ready. I don't rush the starting process. I want to make sure I do that what's best for them as individuals. Exactly. So for instance, it may work for you to do homeschooling in the afternoon. I have a kid. One of my kids is very similar to me. I am not a morning person. Why are you talking to me? I haven't even had my coffee. Like my husband, he hits the floor and he's singing and he's ready to go. Two of my kids are exactly the same way. The alarm goes off and they're ready to go. One kid is just like me. And I'm like, why are you looking at me? It's 7 o'clock in the morning. Stop looking at me. Like I'm mad instantly, right? It takes me a minute to wake up. And so that kid does better in the afternoons with school once he has, been awake for a while. But it doesn't work for our family schedule in general. Okay. Kristen says, my husband too. He's the biggest distraction, more so than the 3-year-old. Yeah, my husband, child. He must not be in the comments anymore because he didn't say anything. Y'all, he be tearing us up. I'm like, babe, come on, seriously? Like for real. Let's see. Latia says, I have a whole schedule. I plan everything out for them. They have trays with all their assignments in it. My sons do like the timer. Yeah, guys, plan. Unless you're an unschooler, I suggest that everybody has some type of plan, right? Even if it's, we're going to do math this week and we're going to complete these pages this week. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to do, these specific pages, but we're going to do pages 5 through pages 10 this week, or 5 through pages 15. I'm just making up something this week. And so that means that maybe one day when they're having a really good day, they're doing multiple pages. Maybe on another day when they're not having a great day, they're only doing one page. But the goal is to finish these amount of pages within that week. Have some type of plan, something so you know what you're working with, okay? Jaquithia says, yes, love that timer. We have the small one and the big one. Yeah, this one, y'all, this timer, it's in Amazon. I don't even know what it's called. Jaquithia may be able to give you the name of it, but it works perfect. It beeps and does it all. I'll show you again. So if your child is doing timers, and maybe even if they're only working for 20 minutes, right? They're in that age group of working 20 minutes. You can do that. And it turns red. That tells them how much time they have. It goes down. Okay. Right. And as it goes all the way down to 0, it beeps. Okay. Very good timer. Very good. Let's see. Hester says, I have one of those timers. Got it from Amazon. My little kids have special needs. Their therapist recommended it and it helps tremendously. They love the timer. Yeah. This is good stuff. I'm not going to lie to you. Very good. Okay. Latia says, I start at 12 to 4. Some days we start at 10 to 2. It varies. Exactly. Do what works for you. Okay. Hey, Raising Royalty. Thank you so much. Hey, Q. Thank you so much for joining me. But yeah, do what works for you, right? If a timer works for you, then do what works for you. Say, for instance, the timer ain't your bag, right? Like it just don't fit well with your lifestyle. Maybe your kids like more structure. Maybe they want to know, mommy, what pages do I have to do? Then do your pages, right? Do pages 3 and 4, front and back, or, do pages 3 and 4. And once you do those pages, you're done. The fact of the matter, guys, is this is your homeschooling journey. I can give you suggestions. As you can see, I'm giving you several different options as far as time management. You can do whatever you want to when it comes down to that, right? Time management. You can do whatever we want to. I can offer suggestions, but it's going to be up to you to find your custom made homeschool fit, right? We're all different. Nothing is going to work exactly the same for all of us. It's just how it is. We're different people. We're different families. Our lifestyles are different, right? My husband travels. Maybe your husband doesn't travel, right? We have basketball practice in the middle of the day and training. Maybe y'all don't have that. Like we have soccer in the evening. Maybe you don't have that and it's better to homeschool. Maybe you're working outside the home. I'm not working outside the home. Like it's not always going to match up exactly. So that's why I'm here to give you options, right? To give you things that you can possibly use. Oh, thank you so much, Jaquithia. Jaquithia just put the timer in there in the comments for me. All right, guys, it's 5:30. You guys have me for a good another 15 minutes or so. Please come and ask whatever questions you may have concerning homeschool. I need everybody in here to do me a favor. Please, please, please share. Let's get more people in the room, guys. Listen, help me out, y'all. Help me out. Help your girl out. Help your girl out. Let's see. Bear with me. I forgot to share it one place, and I'm going to share it, and then I'm going on about my business. But you may ask any question pertaining to homeschool. Right now, we're talking about schedule. Okay. We're talking about keeping our schedule. We're talking about time management. We're talking about holding our stuff together, right? Like keeping it together. And so again, if your school day, and I will say it over and over again, and that may mean tomorrow I'm gonna have a long day because that's usually how it happens. Every time I put something out there, it happens, it backfires for me. Your homeschool day should not be lasting more than 6 hours. And even when they're in the traditional school system, let's just talk about this, okay? Even when they're in the traditional school system, they're spending maybe in between 4 to 6 hours a day doing schoolwork with lunch, with recess, with interruptions, with transitioning from class to class, all that good stuff. They're not spending 8 hours a day learning. They're not. They're just not. Okay. They're not. I know they're there. They are physically there, but they are not spending 8 hours a day learning. Okay. And so for you to come home and think that you are going to be able to homeschool your children for 8 hours a day and not be exhausted, keep the house, get dinner made, do laundry, clean the house, all that stuff, and not be exhausted is just unrealistic. And that goes for any and every curriculum that you can possibly use. That goes for all of them. I don't care which one it is. Okay. There are a lot of curriculums out there that are box curriculums that require a lot of extra work that are unnecessary. I am not, like I told y'all, I like Abeka for younger grades. But I do not see the purpose in you spending a mortgage payment, $1,000 plus, to use their system, and everybody's miserable, right? You're starting school at 8 o'clock in the day and you're not finishing until 4 and 5 o'clock in the evening. I do not see a point in that. That's not what homeschooling is supposed to be about. If you are miserable, I'm talking to you. And I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of homeschool Facebook groups. Sometimes I answer questions, sometimes I don't. I just scroll by like, child, I'm not getting in the midst of that. Like, whatever. But if you are in the homeschool groups, I see y'all all the time. And y'all are in there and y'all are distressed. I'm having a miserable time. I thought I would love homeschooling, but I'm not. This curriculum is terrible. It's like we're spending all day doing schoolwork and all that. Y'all, homeschool is not supposed to be miserable. It's not. If you are homeschooling your children and you're miserable, it is a time and an opportunity for you to look at everything to determine what the issue, what the problem is. It's not supposed to be miserable. It's not. Whether it's the curriculum, whether it's your bad attitude, whether it's your lack of sleep, whether it's the kids not wanting to do what they want to do, not wanting to do what they're supposed to do, whatever it may be, homeschooling is not supposed to be miserable. Pause, stop, look at what you're doing to determine what the issue is. Again, I love Abeka for the younger ages, but when it gets older, it's a bunch of extra. You might as well put them back in the traditional school system. Now, what I will say is there are different methods to homeschooling your children, and traditional may be the method that you choose. It may be the thing that you love, but in no way, shape, form, or fashion should your homeschooling journey be miserable. Now, will there be miserable days? Will there be days that suck? Will there be hard days? Will there be days where you're like, you know what, I'm over it, I'm done with this day? Yes, but your entire journey of homeschooling as a whole should not be miserable. Okay. If that's you, if that's the type of situation you're in, you need to reach out to me. Let's figure it out. Okay. Send me a message. I'm miserable and I don't know why. You know what we're going to start first with? What curriculum are you using? Do you have a vision for your homeschool? Why did you start homeschooling? What is the goal when you're done? All those questions, right? Because a lot of people are just pulled out for COVID and then kept homeschooling because they somewhat enjoyed it, or maybe they don't like all the good stuff or like all the stuff that's going on in the traditional school with the regulations. But your homeschool journey shouldn't be miserable. And the thing about homeschool people tend to forget is homeschooling is a lifestyle. It's not just books. It's the way that we live our lives, right? Every opportunity is an opportunity to educate our children. I told you, my son learned fractions by making oatmeal for all 5 of us. That's how he learned. My son learned percentages, how to do 10% of this, 20% of this, 25% of this, 21% of this. He learned how to do that because we were sitting in the line at the bank and I was transferring money from a business account to our personal account. And I had to figure out percentages. And he asked what I was doing. So you know what we did? The line was long. We sat there in the line and we did percentages. Homeschooling is a lifestyle. If you are miserable when you're homeschooling, it's time for you to stop and look at what you're doing that is causing you to be miserable. Is it you? Is your attitude jacked? 9 times out of 10, my attitude is jacked. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I stay up often, sometimes to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I get my best work done at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when everybody in the house is asleep. But then my kids get up at 8 o'clock and they're ready to roll. And I am not. So my attitude is all jacked up. Okay. So I'm the problem. That's why we're miserable in homeschool. Is that you? Is that what's happening with you? Like, let's talk about it. Let's go down. Homeschooling should not be miserable. You shouldn't be miserable. Okay. Hester says, amen. Alicia says, that's right, child. She didn't say child. I added that on here. Justice says, usually I find falling off a routine and not having a plan. Yeah, it's easy to fall off and not have a plan. I have to be intentional with lesson planning. And that is me talking to you like another homeschool mom. There are programs, of course, that have the basic plan for you, right? But I have to be intentional about planning, because if I don't, I notice that the way that we function for the rest of the week is terrible. Like the kids are all out of whack, disarray. They can't figure out what's going on, what we're doing. I'm literally flying by the seat of my pants. Mom, what are we supposed to do? What page are we on? We're on page 7. Okay, we'll start at page 8 and read page 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Stop at page 16 or stop at page 17. And then they'll stop at page 17 and it's some random page that doesn't even match or go with what we were already working on. Or we started something completely new at 15 and now we stopped right in the middle of it. It is important for us to plan, to have some type of plan of what we're doing, something. Even if you're using programs like, and that's another thing too. That's a whole nother conversation. Even if you're using plans like Time for Learning, right? You're using programs like Time for Learning. You should be going into Time for Learning. You should be saying, when it says what grade your child is in, you should be going in there and looking at the lessons and know what lesson they're going to work on today. Okay. You should be going in there at least once a week so that you are aware of what's going on. I know y'all don't want to hear that. Somebody gonna get mad. I'm sorry. Don't be mad. But you should. You should know what's going on with your child. Otherwise, how do you know if you're understanding the content, right? If you're not checking, and that's another thing too, if you're not checking their work on those things, those programs like Time for Learning, how do you know that they're understanding the concept, right? You're just sitting them in front of the computer for them to get the stuff done. But how do you know that they're understanding the concept? You don't until what, a month later, you go back and you look at their grades and they failed lessons 3 through 9, but they kept moving forward. If you're planning, you'll catch that. You'll catch that they're not understanding the concept. Okay, let's redo lesson 3. Let's start all over because obviously you weren't understanding it. Okay. Kristen says, yeah, as a night owl, mornings are rough. I intentionally start later in the day to get my attitude together. Learned that a couple years ago because it was getting frustrating. Yeah. And I'm learning too now, though, that I am a night owl. I've always been a night owl, not so much a morning person, but I'm learning too, though, that the night owl doesn't work with my family's lifestyle. It just doesn't, right? So I can't stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning, and then my kids get up at 8 o'clock to do their schoolwork, and I be fully functioning, firing on all cylinders, right? And then they have training and they have basketball and all that stuff. And by what, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm exhausted, but my kids are ready to roll. Let's go. We got training, we got practice. Let's get it. Right. So we get the practice, whatever the case may be. And then we got to do other stuff. Like by that time, I'm exhausted and I'm irritated. I'm frustrated. Everybody leave me alone. Why are you talking to me? Like, it's usually me. So those are the type of questions. If your homeschooling journey is miserable, those are the type of questions you need to ask yourself. Is it me? Am I tired? Am I hungry? I know that sounds stupid. Listen, I will go hours without eating. I will wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, drink me a cup of water, okay? Take my vitamins, sit down and get to work. The kids come in, get breakfast, sit down and work. We get to work. We doing whatever we got to do. Then we have practice, okay? By the time I look up, it's 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I haven't had my first meal for the day. But I've been up since 7 o'clock this morning. So those are the type of questions you need to ask yourself. Are you tired? Are you hungry? Okay. Did your husband make you mad? Don't take it out on the kids. It's not their fault. It's his fault. Like those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Is it curriculum? Does the curriculum fit our lifestyle? Does the curriculum fit the plan that we had for homeschooling? Those are all questions you need to be asking yourself if you're miserable. If you're spending more than six hours doing homeschooling, you need to be asking yourself that. And y'all go into these groups, these specific groups for the curriculum, and you tell them that you're having a hard time. And they just tell you, oh, it's okay. I'm literally looking at it going, it's the curriculum, fam. Just because it worked for Susie and them over there doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It's great for them. It works for their lifestyle, but obviously it doesn't work for your lifestyle. So let's move forward. Let's find something that does work for your lifestyle. Okay. All right. So it is now 5:44. I'm going to jump off of here now. Does anybody have one last question they want to ask? Everybody, please do me a favor. Do me a favor. Thumbs up, share, comment, do whatever you can do right now at this moment. That simple action blesses me in a mighty way. You have absolutely no idea how much it blesses me. So if you can, please just give me a thumbs up, share, comment, like, whatever the case may be. That would be great. But I have time for one more question, and then I'm going to jump off of here, right? Because I got to go get dinner cooked before we do our sports thing. We got another sport practice today. Okay. All right. So listen, do me a favor. If you didn't share, like, share, like. If you did, share and like again. Okay. I will be back here on Monday with another live homeschool Q&A. You guys do your work. When you go tomorrow, you start homeschooling the kids. Write down the questions that come up in your head in the midst of your journey. Okay. When you get back here on Monday, ask them. That's what I'm here for. Ask me whatever question you want to ask pertaining to homeschooling, whether it's homeschooling and working, homeschooling in marriage, homeschooling a high schooler, a middle schooler, multiple children, an elementary child, a preschooler. Ask me whatever it is that you want to ask me pertaining to homeschool. I am here available. Here to help you succeed, okay? So I'm going to jump off of here. You guys have an absolutely wonderful, blessed evening, and I will catch you again on Monday. Y'all, Y'all just have an absolutely wonderful evening. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I will see you guys again. I was getting ready to say something else, but I decided not to. I'll see y'all later. Have an absolutely wonderful night. Bye, guys.